Welcome to the Body Harmonics Podcast, where we move freely, heal deeply, and flow with ease. I'm your host, Renee McLaughlin, somatic educator and the creator of Body Harmonics. For over 30 years, I've guided people like you out of pain and limitation and back into your body's innate wisdom. Are you ready to awaken your life? Let's dive in. Welcome everyone to the Body Harmonics Podcast. And this episode is so special and dear to me. You know how I always start, I'm so excited to introduce. Well, I'm so excited. To me, this is just a heart thing, because I have today as my guest, Tiffany Alvord. Now, why is this so special? For those of you that have followed me for years, you'll recognize this sweet girl, because she's my girl. This is my daughter, Tiffany. And I'm just so blessed and thankful that she agreed to come on today. And today we're going to be talking about emotions, stuck emotions, and the emotion code. Now, you guys got to hand it to the two of us, okay, Tiff and I. Because dealing with mother-daughter relationships, and now you're going to be dealing with emotions, that can be really fraught with a lot of potential drama.
Could be.
Because Tiff and I have been through life together, right? All the way up through her 30X number of years. So much so that at one point, you all might remember that Tiffany actually worked for T-Tapp in the T-Tapp office for a few years. She was in customer service. She did a lot of work there, and then transitioned back into Atlanta and continued on her journey. So Tiffy was also became a T-Tapp trainer, and we did several form tip trainings together. So you might recognize her if you've been following along for a little while. So Tiffy, oh my goodness, thank you so much, honey, for coming on today. And I'm going to ask you, if you would, just real quick. So you left T-Tapp, you went back to school, and you got a degree in, and I'm going to kind of let you share from there.
Yeah. So worked at T-Tapp, became a trainer, decided it was time to kind of come back to Atlanta, and I went back to school for new media art, which, if you don't know what that is, totally understandable. Basically, I got a degree that is a little bit graphic design, a little bit traditional art, and a little bit media theory and the internet and all the interactive ways you can copyright and use the internet. And even on top of that, I've been in marketing for almost 15 years now as my actual full career, which is wild to think about. It's wild to think that I've been doing something like that for that long. And currently, besides being a emotion code practitioner, certified, and all of those good words, I do also work as a marketing manager for a large consulting firm focused on doing podcasts and videos. So I'm so excited to be on your podcast.
I was like, Tim, she's been asking me, Mom, you got to do a podcast for a while now. And yes, so we're thrilled. So, you know, Tiff, even as I can say this, as just a tiny little girl, you are always very, very wise. You were always very tuned in to yourself, knowing what it was that you needed. You always just kind of played to your own drum and found your own tribe. And even if it wasn't necessarily your tribe, you found how to make it your tribe and to fit in. You've been really interesting to watch and to hopefully be some small part of that. And so at one point, you were doing your work and working. And I had been working and doing some interviews with Jenny Chandler, who is a wonderful emotion belief code practitioner, and felt that maybe, there were some things that had gone on in your life that perhaps you could use a little bit of some of this type of work and help. And you did it. You got great results. And you just came to me and said, Mom, I'm telling you, I really feel like I'm drawn to do this and to become a practitioner. So I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, yeah. So I had gone through a divorce and was really stuck in a spot of just circular thoughts. You know, when you get in that place where you're trying to process, you're trying to get through it, you're trying to move on, but your brain just like hamster wheels and you can't quite get out of that zone. And you had mentioned what Jenny was doing to me and I was like, "Okay, I want a session. I want to do this. I want to see what it's about." And that first session with her really focused on that, completely shifted that little hamster. It was no longer spinning on the wheel. I could move through things and move through my day without constantly coming back to those pieces. And it really helped shift that healing and started to let me sort of settle into myself again instead of constantly thinking about the like, oh, this happened to me or this was going on or hearing that like negative voice that came from someone else. And I was blown away, honestly, by it. I've done a number of different things with you and different energy work.
Right.
And this was the first one that really hit me in a way that I truly felt the shift from. Like it was very noticeable right away. And that's not to say there wasn't changes and shifts from the others. It just wasn't as apparent to me as that was. I did a second session with her that also helped. And after that, I was like, I want to do this. This is incredible. I see the power in this. I love what it's doing. So I pulled a U, as I like to say. I went on. I was like, "What's the certification? What can I learn? What do I need?" And I did the emotion code certification first. That's their first step, and that's kind of where I've been sitting and really diving in and utilizing right now. And I've got to say, even just at that emotion level, not even as deep as the belief level that Jenny was helping me with, it makes a difference. I notice as I shift things and clear that energy, a difference in myself, my body, my viewpoint, and it's honestly been incredible. And I love working with others on their stuff too. I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, that's my journey. That's how I've come to this, and honestly, I love it, and I think it's a perfect additional piece to my own healing journey and to many others.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And the thing with the emotion code, I'm going to make this comment, but please feel free to change it if you disagree with me. Um, the thing with the emotion code is there is an absolute system. You do this, you do that, you do this, and it works. There is a system, and the system works. And just like most things, there is this science, and I'm going to call it a science. I'm going to have you explain the science in a minute, and then there's the art. And what I will say is, I feel because I've had many sessions with you, and we're actually going to do one, so stay tuned. Um, you embody the art. You're just really have that sense, that intuition, and that real ability to zone in on someone to really assist them with their process. And it is it's a personal process. And
Very.
it does require a certain amount of openness and permission and real desire to what is that holding me back, and okay, let me let go of the control, let me let go of that and expand out. So you're a beautiful practitioner with that. So would you, and I would say that even if you're not my daughter, but you are, and so I happen to actually know you as well. All right, so from here, can you share a little bit about the science? What is this thing?
Yeah. Okay. So, the definition. So, the emotion code is an energy healing modality. Fancy words to say it's just one way to move energy and to help the body heal. So, everything we know, everything in life, everything around us, everything we think, we feel, what we touch, everything is made of energy. And sometimes that energy gets stuck. And so the emotion code is helping you, utilizing muscle testing, find and identify that stuck emotional energy that you're still holding in your body, and to release it so that the body can move that energy and process that, get it out, keep it from being stuck. And the more you move that energy, the more the body can do on its own. You're really assisting. So we utilize muscle testing to identify your emotions. I have a handy little chart that I use to help identify it. There's about 60 emotions on here, and that's all you need. You don't need any more. They all kind of, there's a little overlap, but it covers the whole range. Um, and you'll connect into that person. It's a intention, just as is a science. And there's an intuition that goes along with it, and a trust, really, even if you don't fully believe, just a trust that this will help, and an openness to helping that makes a huge difference. And yeah, so you're identifying that stuck energy that's tied to an emotion, and you're helping the body to release and move that energy. And totally painless. It can be done remote. You can be done in person. If you're super busy, technically all I need is your permission to work on you, and I can
Wow.
still do it. But I always prefer having the person with me during the session, on a call, online, or phone, or in person if possible. But we can't all be in one place.
No.
But I find when when the person's there and they're actively engaged with you through the session, more comes from it. There's so much more intention and consideration into that process that does really make a difference.
I love that. Thank you for that explanation. Beautiful. And of course, being, all the work that I do with the somatics, even, and the
Yeah.
movement, right? So as Tiff's saying, you know, emotions will cause blockages in our energy field, right?
Mhm.
And we know something happens and we aren't able to process it through the body, it gets stuck. And that's why
Mhm.
sometimes we're doing our somatic movements and we might break out in tears, or we have that exhale of the frozen breath. It's like we've held that in some way and in some place. And man, that's that when it releases, it's just like this freedom. I always just almost see it like the garden hose, right? There's a kink in the garden hose and you get little sprinkles, but it's like this unlocks it. It's like, oh man, that just feels
Mhm.
so good. So it's just a beautiful additional modality that goes along with so many other things. So
Yeah.
do people typically come with an issue? I'm having trouble with something.
Yeah, and it doesn't, sometimes it's physical. I've
Mm,
definitely used the emotion code to release muscle tension or tightness, or soreness that I'm feeling.
mm,
Because as you know, when things get stuck in the body will tell you, and it will give you some kind of sign. So I've definitely used it to help ease some of that. I won't say it cured it or it got rid of it, but
yeah,
it definitely eases
right, right,
that. And other times it's a feeling, it's a thing you're struggling with, and you're like, I'm really struggling in this area. Like, is there anything connected to this?
right.
And sometimes we start there and devolve into other pathways or related pieces. The body's really good at telling you how much it can and can't do. So constantly throughout my sessions, I will check in and see, like, okay, we've released everything for this now. Can we continue to release? Is the body still able to release more? Is it done for now? And we need to stop here, give the body time to process, and come back for another session to keep going. It really is a variable based on the person, where they are, how deep, how intense something is. We can release inherited emotions, which is really, really cool to me. And that energy releases along your whole family line,
Ah,
past, future, current, anyone. And the other person probably won't notice. Won't it? There won't be anything that registers, but you're releasing that stuck energy that's been passed on and on and on. And sometimes if you have multiples of those pop up, that's all the body can do. That's a lot.
right,
That's a lot of energy to move.
right.
So it really depends. I like to ask people to come with with some kind of focus. It can be a wide list and we talk through it and then pick our focus and see what the body's willing to do. Some things it doesn't want to touch right then, and it rather you deal with something else. And it's being able to ebb and flow with, you know, the energy of the person themselves, what their body is willing to work on. And we kind of take it from there. It's very flexible, which is really
It
nice.
is nice. And I love the way you're talking about the body, right? What does the body want to work on? Because, consciously, like I'm so type A, this is what I want to work on. But the body is like, Renee, you're getting symptoms, and right, that your stomach's hurting and you don't want to do so much. So we
Yeah.
ask the body in a way that bypasses that conscious mind and really gets, because what we're trying to do is actually look at a lot of unconscious emotions, etc., that are sticking. We can certainly do conscious if that's what it wants, but it's the unconscious that can really make a difference.
Yeah, and it can be a balance. So like, as we know, our current world, our current climate out beyond these few walls is in a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of things that can cause a lot of anxiety, and
Yeah.
I definitely have been feeling it. So I have done quite a few sessions recently when I'm in a feeling of anxiety to help move some of that energy and release it. That's very conscious. I know I'm anxious. I know what's going on. And then there's other times where I just get that feeling. It's like, okay, it's time for a session, and I just let that flow. So, sometimes it's just a question of like, hey, is there something I can release right now? And the body will say, yeah, sure. Like, here's what we can do now. So it's definitely a balance. A lot of this is subconscious. A lot of times we will start working towards a specific focus and things will come up and you have no recollection. It doesn't trigger any thought.
Right.
It just happened,
Yes.
it got stuck, and we release it, and we don't need to know. It doesn't matter why it got trapped or what it was.
Right.
We are just letting that move, letting that flow.
Yes.
Sometimes you'll get a hit, you'll think of something, and you'll be like, "Oh, that thing." But it doesn't matter in
No,
the end. The energy just needs to be released and to move.
I
And
love.
I love the fact that you don't have to know. It's there's a time and a place for what people call talk therapy, where you're with a therapist and you're talking through it. There's a time and a place for that, and it's beautiful, and it's helped me immensely in my life. But there's also times where you don't need that. You don't need to know it. You can just let it go and let it be.
Right. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Absolutely. And because we can't know, so much happens in this body that gets stuck and we really don't know. We don't need to. So I'll tell you what, guys, I would love for you to experience a session where
Yeah.
just a short one where Tiff's going to work on me, just so you get a sense of, well, what does this look like, how she's going to find it, and then how does she relieve it, which is really wild. And so what I thought was, as a place to start, because you guys all know that I just absolutely love one of my frequency tools, the one big one that I use all the time, which is the AO scan. And when we do right, I love the AO scan. And when, I know. And when we use the AO scan and we use inner voice, we get reports. And in the report, it shows us the emotions that are up right now. So in the inner voice, the emotions that show up are from our voice, because our voice is like a lie detector test. It can tell with all those octaves. The octave goes according to specific emotions, and then we can get balancing harmonics to help that. So I thought, wow, like to be able to use the emotion code as well, it would be a great starting point, because most of the time when I run my inner voice, emotions come up and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like I could see where it's coming up, but I'm not feeling that in the moment. Like I would never have picked that. So I'm just going to go, I'm going to real quick share my screen for a moment with the AO scan. And I want to just show you just one of them so that we have an idea of what we're going to be doing. So here we go.
And this is very fun for me. I haven't started from an AO scan emotion report yet.
We
So it'll be really interesting because the thing is that the AO scan is finding these emotions. It's going to help you release them with the tones and the scan, like the playlists and all of that. But perhaps we can also find that through the emotion code and help it release this way as well. So we're going to try, and if Renee's body says I'm not really into that, we're going to detour into what we can kind of focus and release on, and you'll kind of see that ebb and flow that a session gives.
Yes.
So I know for myself, especially when I'm working remote with someone, I like to take a few moments, a couple breaths just for both of us to calm and center and really sort of settle into our bodies. For any of you listening, if you are a spiritual or a religious person, you can connect with your belief system this way. But for me, I really like to focus in that energy and focus on the person. So we're going to start with just a few nice deep breaths to settle into our bodies. Okay. So I will actually do my muscle testing on screen so you can see. I like to use a circle with my finger and press against it. So I'll show you what I would do is I would ask it, show me yes, which is a very firm motion for me, and then show me no, it goes straight through. It's not there. So that's the style of muscle testing I like. There's a ton of styles out there and different ways to muscle test. This is just what I've been doing for years, and it works great for me. So as you know, my name is Renee. I'm connected into you. Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. So let's see. Is there a trapped emotion around overambitiousness? Yes. Okay. Is this a common emotion? Yes. So there's different kinds of emotions. This is common, which means it's something Renee felt and trapped in her own body. And then I'm going to actually use my chart to see what related to that we can clear. Because sometimes it's not this emotion specifically, but it's something that's causing and leading into that. So on my chart, I have column A and B, and then I have a few different numbered rows. So is it in column A? Yes. Is it an even row? No. Is it an odd row? Yes. I always like to double check, even though I got a no for the first one out of 2 options. Is it row 1? All right, so we have a few different emotions here. There's 5 emotions in each little box, so I'm going to see which one we've got. So what came up for you that ties into overambitiousness is abandonment. And sometimes you need additional info to clear it, sometimes you don't. So we'll see, do we need to know any more? Yes.
Oh.
So what I like to do for the first bit, and sometimes you just need to find an age or an age range. So I'm going to do that in groups to just narrow it down. Is this from ages 0 to 20? So it's early in life, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, somewhere in 10 to 20. Is it 10 to 15, 15 to 20? Is it age 15? Who knows what happened? Do we need to know any more? No, we do not. So we're just going to clear that. How we are going to clear that is by stimulating the governing meridian of the body. That's the meridian that runs from the crown of your head, or like right around your forehead, all the way down your spine. It's really a huge intention channel of the body. It's your main meridian, energy meridian, and we're just going to stimulate that. It's going to, it's kind of working off of like magnetism. Your hand can really just generate that energy. Some people also add a magnet to make it a little powerful. I don't do that because I don't feel like I need to. That's part of my own intention towards this. So we're going to stimulate that meridian. I generally do it around 5 to 8 times, whatever feels good for me. So we're going to do that now to clear out abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to check and make sure that's cleared. Has this emotion been released? Yes.
Yeah, I could feel that.
That's the whole thing. Let's see what else we can find for you. But that's the session. That's the base of the whole thing.
Wow. And that was for the first one under overambitious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you have an emotion that's trapped, that's leading into that. It's related. It's not necessarily causing it, but they're entwined together. And some of it is how we phrase the question to the body. Sometimes you get different answers based on how you're phrasing that. And that just takes practice. So I would say, is there a trapped emotion related to overambitious? Yes. So you do have another one. Is it a common emotion? No. Is it absorbed? It's an absorbed emotion. So absorbed emotions are emotions that you trap that are from other people. So say you're in a situation where you're with others and someone else's emotions are really heightened and you take that on and trap that energy in your body. And they might as well, they might not. But what we know is it came from someone else. So we are going to look, is it column A? Yes, it is. Is it even? Yes. Is it 2, 4? It's in section 4 of column A. So resentment is the emotion here. Do we need to know any more? No. So this one, we don't need to know anything else. The body's ready to let it go. So we'll release that for you. Is this emotion released? Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
That's 2. We can keep going if you would like. It's up to you for this session, but we've released 2 that are tied to this emotion that you identified through the AO scan, which is really cool because sometimes it's hard to know where to look. Like you wouldn't necessarily think overambitious.
No.
That would never come up to you consciously.
No, exactly.
And so we might not know to look for that and to clear related to that.
Right. How beautiful. See, that's why I love even just combining these. Thank you for that.
Modalities. I love that word.
Yes, I love it. Combining some of the modalities to make it just even that much more effective and juicy. So when you clear it, Tiff, so it's cleared for right now, but let's face it, we're constantly bombarded, right? And so, yes, it's cleared for now. And my experience is that, oh my goodness, these emotions, there's so many layered. So it's not like do it once and I'll never be over ambitious again.
No,
or
not
whatever
at
it is.
all.
But for the moment, it's lighter, and now the body can move. And so to be able to pull them up, identify them, let's say with the AO scan, do what you're doing, and then support with the AO scan, listen to your tones, rebalancing constantly. Do another AO scan in a week, see what shows up. Come back, do another, an emotion code, clear it that way.
Somatics. Help the body move it.
And the body needs to move it. So it's just a beautiful way to combine all those. And Tiff, I really feel like I'm going on a big trip, you guys. But when I come back, I know I'm very excited. Very excited. When I come back, though, I'm really want to put together like a coaching program, I'll just call it, with a lot of these different things all combined. So just imagine when we can combine modalities, the AO scan, the emotion code, those somatics, into a really beautiful combination. So for people who have things that are you just can't seem to get over. I'll give you one, of course, in my line of work that's always been so up is no matter what I do, I can never lose weight.
Yeah.
Weight is such a big one. Weight. Listen to the words and the feeling of weight, right?
Yeah. And I've done that. I've done emotion code sessions for me around weight loss, weight management, all of that. And stuff comes up. And I have a very open relationship with my body. I'm not a big calorie count. Like I'm not paying attention in that way. I'm not restricting. But we live in a society that has viewpoints on bodies and our weight. And sometimes you gain weight and like you might not feel your best, which then hits your self-esteem, which hits your negative self-talk. And it can be really hard to find that and help just release that emotional weight on yourself. Help your brain kind of move forward, not hamster, as I said earlier. And And I do find it helps. There's a really cool testimonial that I heard when I was doing the training that I just love. And again, I'm not saying it's for everyone, but it's just really cool what clearing emotions can do. There was a gentleman, and I don't remember the name. I don't remember all of that, but I remember the testimonials. He was looking to lose weight, and what he did is it took like over a year, but every time he had a food craving, he did an emotion code session to clear the emotions that were tied to that food craving. And he lost a pretty significant amount of weight over the course of like a year and a half. Like it's a long journey, but every little step, every little piece, it just helps. And I thought that was so cool and such an interesting way to use the emotion code
That's
that
a
I
great.
wouldn't think of on my own, because my coming to this was in a very different place. It was based very much on emotional healing, not physical, and so it was cool to see how much that emotion to physical just are so intertwined.
Oh my goodness, that really is. And again, when you're working a lot with the AO scan, we say, oh, emotions cause, I'm just going to go with physical symptoms, cause, so much of our dis-ease, right? Of all types, mental health, of course, stress. And stress is that same thing, an imbalance in the energy field on emotionals, whether we think about it in that way or not.
Yeah.
And of course, symptoms are really just the body's way of giving you messages. Look at this. This is an issue, whether we do or not until it gets too big. And it's interesting. And the work then, because that disease tends to come on over time.
Mhm.
So we think things just happen right away, right? But they don't. They happen over time, dis-ease. And so then we expect, because we live in this society, well, I'll just take a pill and that's going to take care of it. When it doesn't take care of it, it suppresses symptoms that then, like a mole, right? You're hammering one side and
Yeah,
the other side pops
symptom
up, right?
relief,
Yeah. And
not core relief,
no.
right? It's the difference.
And so what I find is healing absolutely happens, but it happens in its own time and not always in the time we want it to. But when we do this work, we're getting down to root cause. And when we do, so my thought was, when you were talking about this gentleman, okay, well, it was a year, but it's going to be a year from now anyway, right? So it's not going to matter. You're still going to be done.
Yeah.
All right. So, last thing that I just want to share, because it's a wonderful story, Tiff, too, about how something that it really helped you with your eyes. You were telling me about this the other day, and it's just wild.
It's fascinating. So, like we said, sometimes the body will find ways to get your attention, and it wants you to help or deal with something. Over the past few years, it started probably a year or so before my divorce. I would suddenly, with no warning, with nothing that I could tell triggering it, would get these like swelling in my eyes. It looked like I was having allergic reaction. It would be painful for a while. It would water. I would be fully like swollen. And I would have to I would take Benadryl. I would have to ice compact my eyes, rest for a while. And I could not figure out what was triggering this because it looked like an allergy. I was like, but I'm not eating the same thing every time. I'm not drinking the same thing every time. I'm not in the same environment. I'm not around the same allergens. Like, I don't know what this is. And what I finally figured out a few months ago, it took a while to figure out what was going on. And it was getting a little less as I was healing, but it was my body's way of telling me that I needed to deal with an emotion. I needed to deal with something. I needed to see it. And for me, a lot of that was tied around anger. Uh, we don't tend to like the feeling of anger. I know I certainly avoid it as much as possible. It's uncomfortable. And we do also live in a society that does not like to see women angry. It doesn't want to see women angry. They don't want to see our anger. And so there's a lot of unconscious suppression of that we have just from living in the world. on top of the fact that I, as a person, don't like to be angry. And what I came to realize is that was my body's way of saying, hey, there's a lot here. You need to unpack it. You need to move it. It's getting to be too much, and we need you to see it. And so it was causing my eyes to swell. It was causing pain and discomfort. That was aggravating, right? Like, that's aggravating. And so when I finally realized that, I started doing emotion code sessions for that. But also every time I start it, I feel it starting to come on, because there's this like tingle. You know, when you can tell something's about to happen?
Yes.
There's this feeling I get in my eyes, and I'm like, oh, I know it's coming. And so now I've started doing an emotion code session for myself every time I get that like tingle, that feeling. And I've been able to, if not fully stop, stall or suspend, keep it at that level from getting that bad every time I've done that way.
Wow.
And like I said, I've been healing. I've been moving all this energy. I've been working on it all for a couple of years now. And they're getting less and less frequent as I release more and more around that. But it's incredible. I've had days where I've woken up where my elbow or like my shoulder hurts, and like nothing has changed. My sleep is the same. Everything that's been comfortable the day before is totally the same. And I've just checked. It's not always a trapped emotion, but sometimes it's there or it's tied to it in some way. And I will just check and see, is there a trapped emotion influencing this, causing it, impacting it, all the different ways you can phrase it. And I've been able to release and relieve some physical discomfort at the same time. And it's just, the body's amazing.
It's such a beautiful gift. And the body a lot of times will actually work. It can be almost just as literal as all of this, right? I mean,
my eyes, it's like, hey, come see.
What are you not seeing, right? Exactly. Digestion. What's happened that you just can't digest?
Yes.
Oh, my stomach. Well, okay, so what's going on, right? What's stuck in there? It can be so literal when we start to learn how to listen to what we're saying, listen to the words. It's so interesting. I love this stuff.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
And yeah, I highly encourage our listeners to check all this out. I know you'll have it in the show description. I'm not even worried that they have to go far.
Yes.
It's just the coolest.
It is the coolest. So for any of you that would love to have a session with Tiffany as an emotion coach, I will have, the link to her. She has a little link that you can go on and schedule a time with her. So please take advantage of that. Her work is amazing. And you just never know. You never know when you start to clear some of these, what then shows up in your life. Things that have been blocked from showing up because you weren't ready for them, you start to release in a good way. You start to release, and now your frequency raises because you're releasing some of these lower frequencies. So your frequency raises, and what starts to show up then is of a higher frequency. And it's just so much fun to watch.
I've had friends who aren't like super into energy healing or any of that, and I've done sessions for them while I was certifying, and they've come back and they've said, yeah, I've felt a shift.
Wow.
Like, these things it's opened for me. And I'm like, that's incredible, because these are people that like aren't necessarily fully down this path. They're they're my friends. They want to help me get certified. So
right.
They do a session and then they come back and they're like, oh, wow, yeah, like I actually noticed a difference. And it's like, it works. An openness is all you need.
Right, that's exactly right. That's right. You don't even have to believe. It's not a belief system, really. Just feel it. If you can feel it, you can move it. And that's really what it's all about. And we like to say that, science is now proving metaphysics, right? And the science of today will be tomorrow's folly. We just don't really know. There's part of the mystery, and that's what's so much fun about it. So you all, thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this session. I hope you take advantage of one of Tiffy's great sessions as well. And in the meantime, move freely, heal deeply, and flow with ease. See you next time. Thank you for joining me today on the Body Harmonics Podcast. I hope this conversation sparked something inside of you, a reminder to slow down, breathe deeply, and come back home to your body. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. It's the best way to help us share this message and keep these heart-centered conversations going. And if you're eager and ready to go deeper, connect with me on social media at Body Harmonics, or head over to our website for free resources, upcoming retreats, and ways to move, heal, and flow together. And until next time, remember, move freely, heal deeply, and flow